I think one of the core lessons that all of us have to learn. We live in a very mental society, and the world of spirituality and spiritual teachings is no stranger to indoctrination and to beliefs that we sometimes beat ourselves up with. Like, oh, this spiritual teacher said I should be doing this to love myself. Well, was that a quote or a teaching? Were they directly paying attention to you? Because we're all very different. And for example, I would speak very differently about motivation to a group of people who were depressed and overcoming grief and trauma versus a group of people who were kind of in the middle part of their joyous career and they're building something. We're all very different and we're all at different stages. And often the reason we're trying to fit outer beliefs to ourselves. So, okay, well, I'm going to try and make what that teacher said work, is because we've lost connection with really paying attention to our own bodies and how we feel. So the place we can all work back to is, how am I actually feeling today? And is there room for me to acknowledge that and support that as best I can? So for example, I've got a really big day today. I've got a lot of responsibilities and I'm not feeling great. So I'll just kind of push aside my feelings. That's going to catch you at some point. It's better to go, got a really big day today. I've got a lot of responsibility. I can't really change any of that. I can't really see that it's okay for me to change things, but I will change my plans in this first 30 minutes of the day and recognize some part of me is feeling overwhelmed. And if I just give it space to be heard inside me, to be held inside me, I'll probably be okay. And I will get used to supporting how I feel. And it was interesting, even in reading some of the questions that came in this month, I noticed, and this is common for us as human beings and for people on our spiritual path, I noticed a lot of, well, this person said this and I'm confused. So the most important thing in that kind of situation is you're confused, not what that person said. Because what that person said, if it completely mirrors how you feel and backs something up in you and helps you, great. But if it confuses you, or if you're like, oh, I'm not quite a match to that, and that's bothering me because I think I should be, then we're all getting lost in that idea of groupthink, which many of us have been trained into. You know, if you look at a lot of the stuff in the media right now, a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing in the media kind of breaks my heart, because you can see the manipulation in certain things. And especially if you're used to reading things and seeing, oh, there's a very emotional slant that they're putting on this. That's unfortunate, because the people who are just going to feel activated by what they read, they might get lost and confused about that area, rather than being able to stand back and go, why are they putting such a manipulative angle on this? What's their agenda? And I don't really want to be part of their agenda. It doesn't feel true to me. So on the one hand, what I'm describing is some of the internal, external battle that some of you are probably in right now. But why I'm describing it this month is a lot of that is beginning to break on the planet. And if you look at all the kind of hysteria that we had in the last year around, I'll use just one example. If you look at the QAnon phenomenon and how triggering, divisive, hysterical that whole thing got, that was just another example of how we are breaking out of linear black and whites in the world. And that is tricky for two reasons. Number one, we've all, to some degree, been trained into, well, this is right and this is wrong. And there's a comfort in that. We want to know that we're doing the right thing. We want to know that we're following the right path. The chaos of being a human being on this planet Earth in the middle of space is sometimes a bit too much for us to bear. And that's okay. It's like when you first awaken and your beliefs start to change, or the world around you is no longer what you thought it was, or a relationship that you'd relied on as your best friend for years. Suddenly you start to realize there are some things they really believe and put their energy behind that you can't. And so there's the beginning of some distance and separation in that relationship. It is all okay that these changes happen, They are a part of life and they are a part of evolution. And at the moment, a lot of the division energy that we're seeing, when I speak to these guys, and if you look at astrological information or prophetic information, and there's so much out there right now that there is a lot that is informing us that this is going to be a chaotic time. So we have to figure out our own reactions, and we have to figure out, okay, well, what part of me is untouchable? What part of me is completely sovereign? And when I say untouchable, I don't mean divorced from feeling. I don't mean anti-people. I just mean what part of you is sovereign? Because the level of hysteria in the world won't help you with your sovereignty if you're constantly looking at it, constantly going down the YouTube rabbit hole, constantly listening to your 6 different friends who have 6 very different opinions. We start to lose ourselves. And losing ourselves within the black and whites of what we're told to believe, within the media narratives that usually have corporate agendas behind them that aren't necessarily humanitarian. There's a minefield on the planet. And this is a time where the spell of the minefield is breaking. And it's probably, for many of you, similar for me, it's probably been broken for a very long time for you, for many of you, but it's happening a bit more worldwide than ever before. And in a way, one of the positive sides of the internet has been this net and web of information. And like anything, the internet can be used for good or to distract you or to numb you. I mean, there's like anything. But what has happened is the playing field of information has been opened. And so it's a little overwhelming at times. But the ultimate drive with all of this is to try and break down the world that we used to live in that was holding us in place. And, you know, I'm no different to you. Like, I'll have my days where it's like, oh, yeah, I remember the 90s and the early 2000s. Didn't it seem simple compared to now? But no part of me believes that we should be going back. And every part of me, the more I go through every month that we're going through, and the more I see, the more I'm like, oh yeah, this is what we always knew was going to be this passage of time. And this is the way that the world is going to have to change for us to move forward. How it's going to continue to play out, there are wildly different opinions. I mean, I remember in 2011, there was a whole group of people who believed that we were all, you know, everything was going to get turned off in 2012 and that we should stock up food and that the stock market was going to crash. And it's very interesting. You see all that stuff now. And I had a friend in my life who used to go through trauma, every single thing she read, and she did it for years. And there came a point where I think it kind of calmed down for her, because you can only traumatize yourself through fears of the future so many times before you start to lose your mind and you lose your center. So the way I live, and the way I've lived for a long time now, is whenever I find myself getting too lost in the weeds out there, I remember the one truth I can hold on to, which is we never know when our time is up. I'm probably like many of you, you know, I'm a pretty, according to the readings I've had and just my own sense of it, I'm a pretty old soul, and this might be my last life. So this is a bit of a consolidation life on earth for me, apparently. So sure, there's a lot I want to do, and there's a lot that I want to create and experience and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I always remember that we never really know how much longer we've got left. So that's not to say don't worry about the future and don't do things that you think are going to help our future as a planet. But you have to hold it to a certain degree lightly in your heart in order to stay in spirit and in consciousness. And the days that we get super in the weeds or super stressed, or we've had a lot piling onto us, you know, perhaps you've had the year from hell with all kinds of grief, and all kinds of family members have needed you for support. And you're just like, God, I'm barely breathing right now. Great. Know that you're barely breathing and do something about it. And you might say, well, Lee, I'm caring for this person. I'm parent to my kids by myself. Cool. Okay, I understand. I understand the responsibilities. But if you're telling me that you can't drown because of these responsibilities, then it's time for you to address, okay, how do I stop myself from completely drowning? I've got about 20 minutes a day that I could protect from all my responsibilities. What could I start doing in that 20 minutes a day that's going to change my energy? Oh, I felt really kind of hysterical about the state of the world the last 3 weeks. Well, let's have a look. What have I been doing the last 3 weeks? Oh, okay, I haven't left my news feed. I keep speaking to my friend who's telling me to build the bunker now and buy all the tinned food now. Just look at what your stressors are, because we are a composite of the energies we're exposing ourselves to. So there are certain things I do that represent the things that I want to change in the world and that I feel like I can be a part of helping. And some of those things are public and some of those things are private. Same with you guys, I'm sure. But then there is also the kind of the small self in me that needs to be nurtured and fed and balanced. And balance is a real challenge for everybody at the moment, but it's not a challenge that isn't achievable. What we sometimes have to look at is, okay, what do I need? What lights me up? Not my family, not my partner, not my kids, me. Oh, okay, well, I always used to love listening to really heavy thrash metal. And I haven't listened to it for a while because I didn't think it was very spiritual. Well, heavy thrash metal might be exactly what you need to kind of let some of that energy move through you. So if you could take 10 minutes in the morning to just put the headphones on. The reason I'm kind of appealing to you here about holding your balance is your balance is currency and it's energy. And without some sense of inner balance, or some knowing that we're allowed inner balance, even if we only experience it for half an hour a day, we're allowed to experience it. And the more we give ourselves to experiencing it, the more the core of our energy becomes robust and becomes more able to roll with the punches. We're still human. Things will still affect us. Things will still affect us in ways that we might get taken down for a moment or react. But the wider you let yourself become, which can only happen with a balance practice and with an acknowledgement that you're allowed to have balance in your life, despite your responsibilities, despite what your best friend wants from you, doesn't matter. You were born onto this planet as uniquely you, and you will leave this planet as uniquely you. Sure, you may have created a family around you. You may have children. All that stuff is cool. You may have really important work you're doing in the world. Great. But at the end of the day, it really is you. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is the risk and the danger in this time is people getting lost in the chaos and the confusion. The opportunity of this time is divorcing yourself from chaos and confusion. Sure, there might be a day where you feel like you were a bit chaotic, but that's very different to you putting your eyes, senses, and feelings into the world and just watching the story of the world, taking it into your energy field, and then deciding it's true. The Z's have been very adamant about the fact that we're creating the world that we're in right now and that we have opportunities to do that. So my message is strong because it's a really important time. And the flip side of this time is we are coming into a very innovative and energized 6 to 12 month period, certainly compared to the last year we've been through. Hi, I'm Lee. I'm an intuitive, a channeler, a musician, and you may know me from my monthly free energy updates that go out on YouTube and Facebook. You may know me from the Impact the World podcast, but I wanted to introduce you to my members community, The Portal. We've been a community now for 8 years, and my mission and the mission of my team every single month is to bring you wellness content, metaphysical content, anything that's going to support your life as a sensitive, as a healer, as someone who is newly awakening, but also to ground it in reality. So every month we bring you various tools to help you survive, thrive, and expand your life. I know many of you are out there bringing your own special gift or light to the world, and the portal is a hub that we hold along with our community members to support you on your mission. Every month I do a live energy tune-up broadcast. It's 90 minutes long. It allows me to go deeper on some of the energies that month and how they are affecting our specific portal community. I also take Q&A. I answer questions from my intuitive standpoint, and I also answer questions from my guides, the Z's, who I channel. These live tune-ups are always available within 24 hours, so if you can't make it live, you will always have the replay to go back and watch again, or to use the timestamps to visit a specific question that you heard that you wanted to replay the answer for. Every month we will bring you a brand new audio recording. I often keep our community at the top of my mind when I'm creating a new channeled MP3 or a new energy alchemy meditation. And these are always scored and supported by the music of sound healer Davor Bozik. I also do several private behind-the-scenes video diaries. Sometimes these are what we're creating and what's going on here at the studio, but other times it might just be me at home talking about things that I'm noticing, really designed to give you and I an intimate conversation that I wouldn't otherwise put out there into the wider world. Stephen Washington brings you a special body energy update every single month. So Stephen is my husband, and he is also an amazing Qigong and wellness teacher. So I asked him several years ago to start creating some body medicine for us. So he takes the themes of that month's energy update and he expands upon them and gives you a sequence of Qigong movements that are very gentle and easy for beginners, but it's a way of alchemizing what we're going through, and he does it beautifully. So many of our members love that component. Stephen also has many meditations inside the portal, which you can access anytime, and we are expanding our meditation library as these months go on. You receive a welcome bonus of the Intuitive Power live event. So if you've never seen a live event of ours, we had an incredible film crew document our London Intuitive Power event in 2019, and you'll get all 5 hours of that content as soon as you sign up. And finally, we curate special monthly Spotify playlists. 2 different kinds: music to move you, so things that are a little more dancey, and music to soothe you, things that are designed to help your nervous system calm. We love introducing you to new music, and this is curated by our whole team. The Classics Library is another important cornerstone of the portal. It gives us an opportunity to bring you 8 different MP3 recordings from my vast library, but we curate them as to the titles that might be perfect for you at this time. So if you want some extra audio, you can go into the Classics Library and pick a topic that suits you. Alongside several discounts to Portal members, our favorite thing is the energy of our community. So we have a private forum only available to members where you can share with each other, discuss, and learn from each other. So the portal really is a world unto itself, and it will keep expanding as the years go on. But there are some of our members who love every single aspect of the portal, and there are some who are there just for 2 or 3 things. So if you want to try it out for a month and see if it's for you, you can do that because membership is available to cancel anytime, and we look forward to welcoming you in the portal if you choose to experience what it is that we are curating and creating for you here.